good afternoon, and welcome to our webinar today. My name is Paul Pedersen, and I'm the Sales Director with Bluestar PLM. Joining me today is Marie Johansen, who's doing the presenting, and Jesper Thomsen, who will be doing the demo for today. So what we have lined up today is a basic presentation of Bluestar, what it is, how we view it, how we view PLM, and then a demo into the world of Bluestar PLM. So in terms of questions, please feel free to ask them as we go along. We prefer to answer them on the go, and you do that just by entering your questions in the box, and we'll answer as soon as possible. So first of all, Bluestar PLM is a software developed by PDM Technology, which is the parent company for the software. And looking at PDM Technology, we've been a Dynamics partner for more than 20 years now. And for as long we have been building on this application as well. And at the very core, what we do is that we build and improve the collaboration between engineering and operation, and all this embedded into Microsoft Dynamics. This solution is based for engineering and operations. And as I mentioned, inside Microsoft 365, F&O and AX, and looking at what we provide today or who we provided it to, we are in more than 20 countries by now, and we support more than 50,000 people using Bluestar PLM. For reference, I just have to mention that we have case studies and white papers and product sheets and so on available on our website at bluestarplm.com. Feel free to download them after this webinar, or reach out to me or one of my colleagues, and we will happily help you along with any information you might need. So looking more at our company, we currently have 4 departments. We have the HQ here in Aalborg, where I'm sitting. We have a development department in Pilsen in Czech Republic. Then we have an implementation and support department, also sales in Germany, in Großwallstadt. And finally, we have a department in United States based in Atlanta. So from the top up, what is Bluestar PLM? PLM in its raw form, product lifecycle management, and it comes in different varieties depending on which developer you're talking to. Our exclusive on this take is that we are fully embedded inside Dynamics 365 AX and Finance Operations platform. So what we target and what our primary focus is manufacturers with internal and external engineering resources. What we provide is a fully embedded solution that broadens around CAD, PLM, ERP environments, and bridge the gap between them. So you basically have one solution all working around 365. Just to mention a short brief of what you can do with Bluestar. You can manage and share product designs, documents, BOMs, and data across engineering and manufacturing teams. Also, what Jesper will show later on, you're able to deploy best practice workflows, streamlined processes, rules and rights, and so on. You can collaborate on different roles, different levels, different projects, and so on. And from our experience, a lot of people who have previously worked with PDM is typically joining or experience that coming from a file and folder structure into Bluestar, where we have a much more object-oriented approach, which means that all files, all documents, and so on are actually oriented around an object instead of a folder structure. So there's a huge difference in this take, and we'll get back to that inside the demo. So leveraging some of the greatest functionalities or benefits of having an ERP embedded PLM. Obviously, there's the data flow where you manage your BOMs, 3D models, documentation, as already mentioned. You manage this across multiple companies, multiple platforms. So whenever you update something in your ERP, in your Bluestar PLM, or in your CAD system, it's updated instantly across the other platforms as well. So, and having access to data in one centralized one place means that you don't have to work in a folder structure anymore. You don't have to, for instance, have all your documentation based on a SharePoint platform. This is all documented along with the objects inside Bluestar PLM. So basically, we consolidate all the data and all the information you might need at one place, which leads us to the ultimate benefit of this, is that you have one source of truth, because both CAD, PLM, and ERP are embedded in the same system as around D365, which means that information is always available for different departments and different locations and so on. Sorry. And looking at some of the business benefits of having ERP with embedded PLM, one of our strong suits is the worldwide collaboration, where you'll also see in our upcoming demo is that we excel at global companies, supporting them, having local firewalls on site, so users experience a very seamless workflow. And inside PLM, you are able to distribute different objects, different articles, and so on to different locations based on rules and workflows and so on. And one of the core issue or core benefits is that you get reliable product data management. We already touched a little bit on this, but it cannot be stressed enough how important it is to have the right set of data, the right revisions, and so on. Leading me to my next point here, reduction of errors, because you don't have to conform any manual processes on this. Because you enter it one place, and then it's distributed between your CAD, PLM, and ERP as well. And obviously, this leads to that you have more efficient production, and you have more or less errors in your production. Holding production is one of the key factors in using software, is that it needs to support and it needs to improve your production, not hold it. And obviously, that's one of the issues that can occur when you have separated softwares. So looking more into some of the benefits here is that revision traceability is one of the things we hear a lot, being able to trace what kind of revision has been made, who has made them, and how was it made. Also, analysis of impact when you do changes in your CAD, in your PLM. In Bluestar, which you'll see, you can actually analyze what kind of influence your changes have on sales, purchase, and production orders, which mean that instead of just being in a silo where you sit and you design your different objects, you now have full traceability throughout the entire business. So, and inside Bluestar, we also have workflow support. So you design your workflows in Bluestar, and then they work in conjunction with your D365 and your CAD as well. So you're not depending on having a third-party system for defining your workflows. And all this leads to that you drive different processes across both engineering and manufacturing, and having access to these data at one place means that there's also always a visibility across these functionalities, engineering, purchasing, and manufacturing as well. And finally, when talking about IT, having all these three components in one system also means that you don't have to spend on maintaining different systems. We always update and accordingly to Microsoft's update plan, and determining the IT infrastructure cost is also beneficial when having this collected in one system. And finally, you don't have to be concerned about integrations, APIs, and so on that you need to update whenever there's a release of a new version in either software that you're using. So, sorry, looking at when we're talking about it being embedded in Dynamics 365, we actually mean it. This is just a screenshot from your workplace, and Jesper is just going to show more in depth of this. But as you can see here, the Bluestar module is actually aligned with all other modules in 365 F&O here. And if you look at this, you see the Bluestar workplace where I, as an engineer, have my different tasks, I have my different engineering objects, and so on. So basically, our engineers are kept in Bluestar and F&O and CAD, but from a workspace oriented approach, you only need to work in one system and don't have to switch between the three of them. So looking at where we actually place Bluestar PLM, obviously deriving from engineering and working with quality management, engineering and manufacturing change management, and then business process management and workflows as well. And as you can see here, what we're trying to illustrate is that as I pointed out earlier, this data exchange between Dynamics 365, Bluestar, and CAD runs both ways, meaning that when you update one, you also update the other two, which is done automatically and seamlessly. And the same for workflow automations. You set up different workflows one place, and it runs through to the other two. So without diving into the specific modules, this is just an overview of some of the modules or all of the modules we have. Obviously, item, we have BOM, 3D document management, we have ECM, engineering change management, we have project, we have CAD integrations, just coming back to that, what kind of CAD systems we actually support. We have IoT and field services as one of our new things, which we expect a lot of going into manufacturing here. Digital twin is also huge at the moment. So, yeah. Next up, as I mentioned, our different supported CAD system. As you can see, we've worked with Axapta all the way back to AX4, more or less, and now on 365 F&O or SIM. And from a CAD perspective, we basically support most CAD systems with a direct integrations, and those that we don't have direct integrations, we have a multi-check-in tool which allows for data extractions and implementations as well. Being a cloud-based solutions, we obviously offer a global collaboration between our services, PLM, ERP, and CAD as well. And one of the challenges we often meet in manufacturing or in companies in general, working with huge blueprints in CAD drawing in general, is that huge files and internet connection isn't always the best option. However, what we're doing is that we're storing these files in local file vaults on sites where we have, for instance, limited bandwidth, which also affects that the users, when working with these files, they'll only be drawn out when needed and not from your ERP, cloud-based ERP, but on a local server vault, which also means that you get a seamless experience when working with huge files in Bluestar. So basically, looking at some of the main features here, as I mentioned a couple of times, embedded in Dynamics 365, which means that we provide an ERP-based full function PLM without having to maintain integrations with other systems and other systems in themselves. Centralization of product data, where you could boost collaboration between engineering and purchasing, manufacturing teams, and the ability to have worldwide collaboration with distributed vaults, as you just saw on the sketch before. Engineering change management include organization and process with access to inventory and order information, and with full product change management, and obviously the CAD integrations we just talked about. Having full access to utilizing CAD drawings inside your PLM and ERP as well. And then we have the workflows that Jesper is going to show as well, where you can assign, manage, track tasks across the organizations, work in roles, work with the rules, and so on. And then the entire product structure management, including BOMs, routes, and access to reuse product information. So you can copy and insert BOMs, structures, etc., that you have already used that you want to reuse in your products. And one of our strong tools is the revision control, where you are able to track revisions down to who made the revisions, why did they change it, and obviously the impact on purchasing orders, sales orders, stocks, and so on. And then finally, we have a strong document management and control as well, including integration into both Excel and Word as well. So just to summarize what we just went through before jumping to the demo, some of the key selling points is a single source of product truth, which a lot of companies struggle with today because they use different platforms. They use folder structure to keep their drawings, and some use SharePoint for the documents and revision control. And all of this requires a lot of manual labor to keep them updated and move the different documents around so they fit. And jumping into that leads us to the seamless flow of data across these different platforms, CAD, PLM, and ERP. So whenever you update something in either one of them, it's also reflected in the other two. And supporting end-to-end business process automation is one of our key points. Obviously, what we're looking at is not just providing a software, but it's more about supporting your business, supporting the different processes that you have, and trying to automate those that can be automated and optimate wherever it's possible. And then it's all about structuring, using data correctly, and obviously reusing data as well wherever it's possible. And finally, we have our worldwide collaboration being cloud-based, but with a strong local presence that allows for working with huge files, CAD files, drawings, and so on. So you get a seamless experience no matter how many global departments you're connected to your Bluestar solution. So enough talking from my side, and now we'll hand over to Jesper so he can jump in and actually show you the demo of Bluestar.
So yeah, here you see a D365 environment, and as Paul mentioned, then we are built inside, we are embedded into the D365 environment. So one of the modules you find here is Bluestar PLM. That's where we have our dashboards, that's where we work with them, and where we work with the items. The thing that I'm gonna show you today is the CAD integration, and I'll use SolidWorks for showing it. It could be Inventor, Solidettes, Creo, yeah, any of the major CAD systems. I'll be using a mechanical demo today, so focus on that one. There is also existing electronics CAD systems that is integrated to this one or embedded in this flow as well. And I'll also show a little bit change management and show a little bit configurator use of Bluestar. So first thing, I'll go into engineering objects. Engineering objects is our placeholder where we have all the items. So in this case, we have an amplifier here. It's revision 42. So a lot of revision on this product. Currently signed on by Charlie. So Charlie, that's me in this case. And then we have it in status design. So this is where I'll start. Inside of Bluestar, we have a product image. We have a drawing that is shown. So we have the information around it. We have the bill of material. So if I just jump down to the details of this design, you can see here we have the bill of material. We have shortcuts to jump to the item. On the dynamic side, we have the where used all the information that we need is basically inside of this one. So let's say now the task is that we need to finish this design. We need to add a lid to the design. We need to maybe create a new component and add it to the design as well, and try it in that way to build up the bill of material so that you can see how the data flow is floating here. So I have SolidWorks already open. I'll say checkout of the files. Checkout will be the one that is giving me from the Bluestar Vault and from D365 is passing the information out to SolidWorks so that I can open my files here in SolidWorks. So I got the model open. Inside of SolidWorks, we have a Bluestar menu or add-in where we can check in the component, we could check out, we can open a drawing. So we can, if we want to, we can look at the drawing for this one. You can see we update the metadata as a part of this process as well. We have different components to copy or replace and not only use the files, but also use the data that we have on the engineering objects, so on the ERP side as well, so that we get the combine of all this data. On the right side, we have like information coming from D365 around this part. So you can see some classification data. You can see some data coming from D365. If I want to insert a lid into this design, I can use my insert button here, and it shows in the Bluestar Designer, and I am able to query different fields or query for different components inside of Bluestar in D365. We have also a classification system. So a classification system where you can do some choices. So in this case, demo, electrical engineering, amplifiers, lids. So I can select a lid class because that was what I need to find. Now it shows a list of attributes, so the different colors, or it could be different sizes. In this case, I want to search for 2mm lids that I have inside of Bluestar. Hit the search button, and it will show me this preview view of all the different lids that I want to do, and I can see that whether they are designed and so on. So when I decided for the right lid to use, then I can drag it into the scene, and I can now start mating inside of the model. So I will mate it here. I'll mate this face to this face, and this face to this face. So that's the normal work that you need to do. So in this case, now I've added a lid to the component. Other cases could be that I want to add a new component, so I can try to do that as well. I will add a new part, and I will just design a little short one here, something simple. So we got one here. We'll just call it demo part 5. So now we have designed a new component. I will add it into to this design. The idea now is that I have added a new component. I have added a lid, so basically updated the bill of material. So now it's time for me to and maybe actually I should make a drawing on this part here first. So let me just do that. So now I just add a part, no title block information at the moment. I'll just insert the default view. Of course, you finish the drawing with measurements and all these things. Now I've created a new component. I've added a lid that I searched from Bluestar, and now I can check it in to get the PDF updated, to get the bill of material updated, and the check-in will also recognize that you have a new component. I will run in silent mode, which means that it will give it the next new number. It will rename the file to the item number. It will fill out the title block information, and it will update the bill of material, the drawing on this amplifier that we have. So now we have stored the data from CAD into to Bluestar. So now if I refresh it in here, I'll get a new updated image, get a new drawing. Drawing is still in design because that's the state we are in right now. And it updated also the bill of material with the 2mm yellow lid and with the new demo part that I've created. Now I've finished my design, and I need to get to an approval of this component. So I changed the status. The status could go directly in this case from this design. Often what will happen is that you have several steps. So we can go to InView, and from InView it'll go to checked, and then it will go to prototyping, all these different states, and there can be rules on when you're allowed to switch where to. This case, for the ease of the demo, I will approve it right here. When I do the approval, it will check my structure, and you will see, okay, you need to approve this one as well, and also this this design that we have added here also needs to be approved. So Let me just remove this component here. Quick, just remove it. Needs to be checked first. So now I removed the component for that I manually added before. So now I can approve this structure with the new demo part. So the important thing is that now it's approved. That means that now engineering is done with the product data. We have now all the information that we need for it. We have the PDF, a drawing, we have the 3D viewer, all these kind of information. But it really doesn't limit to that. We also have like work instructions, packaging instructions, all these kind of things can be linked together to this item number, which means that easily access to view all the information. The 3D viewer here, which is the light viewer that is used by anybody else then that doesn't have CAD, where they can hide visibility, see what is in the structure. They can zoom. They can also explode a little bit, so get the parts exploded out. They really have a tight integration. Maybe they need some information about the casing. They can go in and say view information, and then they get the drawing. There could be a video on the casing. So all this information that you need could be really tied together here. When we are done on the Bluestar side, we can release it to Dynamics, and releasing it would be from the global engineering level and then release it to the legal entity. So in this case, the legal entity that I will release it to would be USMF, but it could be released to multiple companies, and you can use the same bill of material in these companies and the same product data, so that you can share it between your companies. Now we got the 42 released. Now I'll jump to a D365 standard form, the release product. It looks here. What we add from a Bluestar perspective is that we add the revision so that we make them revision controlled. We update the image. Under the engineering field, we have the status of the revision and again the revision information that is released to in this company. Also, we add the same buttons as I showed you before, the view files, so that you can view all the files, the documents that is associated with it. And also the bill of material is released so that we now have a bill of material in here that have the yellow lid and the demo part 5 that we have added, that we just created a moment ago. So during this process, we got a new item added. We added a new lid to this component. So that's the base flow of the information that we coming from CAD all the way to the ERP system. Back and forth. We have now the right revision available on the ERP side, and also the documentation and everything that is related to it is available from here. Now we can go to the next step in this flow, because now we got a problem with it and we need to change it. So we will, from the D365 side, we'll create a new change order. We will choose here and name for it. So let's say that we have a problem with the connector. we have maybe a deadline. If it's a custom driven, we will choose a workflow template. A workflow template is the process. I'll just get back to it. It could be like different programs. It could be like different series that you have that you might need to update. So it could be an amplify package or something completely different. It could be safety related. It could be something around the disposition of the components. So maybe you need to scrap them because without any no re-inspection, so we will scrap it because it's a safety related issue. And we also, all the orders that we have to do, we also need to just scrap them. Worst case scenario, of course. Now, there could be different production sites or manufacturing sites that needs to be involved in this change. Priority right here, or what we believe this change is, it's on this item number. In this case, it will be a BOM change because we need to replace this connector. So what we really are saying here is that the connector too short. So what we suggest is a longer connector. And yeah, give it a description. What is the problem and a class so that we can recognize it. We can import if you have the image of the error, if you had anything like that. We can save them right here. I will now just create this, and it opens the change order file or form. So it have created now and change request. It's in state request. It have all the information that I filled in. It also have started a workflow. So we have now a process started. So who's getting the first task, who's getting the second task, and so on. So typical definition of a change order would be that you have a request proposal phase where you get the change approved. Then you get to a phase where you have where you implement or where you're creating the new revisions, where you're updating the data, where you're doing all this work, implementing the change. And then the last thing is that you make the change efficient. So that's mostly the D365, making sure that you cut it in when the stock level is at the time where you want to. What this form is defined or designed to do is keeping track of the change. So it's the container for it. We have a change definition. In the change definition is where we can redline the BOM. So in this case, we know we had a problem with this connector. So our suggestion is to replace the connector, and we want to replace the connector. Of course, searching it, we can use the classification. We could use all these kind of ways to search, really easy inside of D365. And then we can choose and connector. So I think we can here open the data sheets, open the information that we have in here, and we can see on the measurements, yes, this fits. So of course there will be some analyzing there that this component works for us. So we will choose it. And now the connector is longer, and we don't have a problem with it. So now we have defined what it is that we want to change. Now we can use the change management tool here to analyze what is the impact. So we start with analyzing. We'll show, is it part of any of the running projects or designs? Do we maybe need to include them into the change or not? In this case, it's backwards compatible on this level, on this module level, so we don't want to revise it all the way to the top. So we just keep it like this. It shows a list here of the affected items. We have a new revision that we need to create on On the amplifier, we need to remove a line with the short connector, and we need to add the long connector. Now it could be very interesting to look at what kind of transaction do we have, what stock levels do we have, what other information we have that is related to this change. So we make the analyze, and it will show that the stock level we have on these amplifiers, so the short, long, do we have anything there? It's suggests to make the scrap. It have a cost on it. It can help calculating the cost, what you need to do depending on what the disposition is, and help you do that. It also show all the open order, not only in one company but globally on the company, taking a snapshot. What was the reason for the decision that you have taken in the change? So now we got a good feeling what we need to do. So we go into our task system, and we have the first task here, and by completing this, we kick off the workflow to the next in line. And just to show you how that typical will be, I will go back to my dashboard here, and then I will look into my active tasks. So here will be the task that is assigned to me and waiting on me at the moment. And one of the things that I have here in my list is this change order 56, where you have a problem with the change order. So if we just had a look at the view, we can see here that the first is completed, and right now we are in the order state, and we are waiting on me. Here I can have task description, and I also have the shortcut directly to the form I need. So now I get into the form, read that this is about the connectors too long. I can see here what items to replace. So okay, now I'm the engineer that needs to create that revision and replace the short connector with the longer connector. So in order to do that, we have made an execute button that will help you. So instead of I have to go to the engineering objects and do all this, it will create the revision 43 for me. So now it have actually done the change, and if I jump to the engineering object, that was the place where I was before started, you can see that the short connector have already been replaced with the long connector, and it have made the new open 43. You can see that the image there is not updated. So in order to do this, I will check it out. And checking it out will update the revision information in the product data. And because we also know that the CAD file exists, we can make the replace already. So now in the CAD model, it will do that replace. And I now have the long connector right here. Then often you have the case that when you have a long connector, and you see it in the CAD model, you can clearly see that there's missing a rubber ring here to make it work. So very often what happens is that you will go and find a rubber ring, and then you will add that to the design. Search for it, and I have a few examples. This one is exactly what I'm talking about, so I'll just add this to the design. So now I have added a new position to the CAD files. So now I need to get the bill of material updated in Bluestar. I need to get PDF, all the data really updated all the way through. So now I got it checked into Bluestar, and I'll go back to this form. I can just validate here. Yes, the rubber ring got added. You can see it here on the drawings as well. So now we are basically on the CAD model side, and we can get back to the change order. So in the change order, we have this compare button. The compare will compare the old revision with the new revision. So this rubber ring that we just added is now added and included into this change order, so that you know it was not an expected change, but it was added as a part of that that process. So it was not executed, not planned. So now we got these small components added, and we are end of the design loop. So we can say approve. So instead of approving it, we approve that the new revision 33 here, and we can complete that change state right now.
Yes, but we have a question if you want that.
Yeah, sure.
Anders is asking, does this work in combination with standard ECM features, or how does it differ when it comes to the ECM features?
Yeah, it does work in these combination if you need to. Of course, the scope is a little bit different, because the scope here is a lot more driven against also the you can say the design engineering. So what's happened in the CAD files. So that's of course the piece that is in focus at that and some point of time. So for instance, here when we have executed what the change is and we are ready to get to the implementation phase, that would be where we kick it off, and then we will kick off an engineering change order instead at that point of time. So that you can analyze it, and we will do that into the engineering company, and then from the engineering company you can release it out during the manufacturing change at that time. So that will be more and at that stage that we will do that. Okay, so right now it is we are at that state. So let's close this for a moment. I'll complete this task, which moves it to the next step, and this will be the step where you will release it to the legal entities. So we will go back to change management. So I got that task as well. So that's why I got it in my inbox. Otherwise, of course, I would have been doing the next step and moved on. So now we are at the step where we will insert like an effectivity date. So the effectivity date could be in December sometime, and that's of course calculated for when to produce it based on stock levels, what we can do, and sometimes also phase in of our customers when they are allowed to phase in new changes into the design. And then you can hit the release, and it will release to the company chosen as before. So we will now show this release, and we are basically now done. And now we can update the dates, or we can we now have the 43 that is now activated from the 27th of December, and the old one is updated at that point in time. So this was basically a change that we run to defining the change. We defined the request, we analyzed it, we made the design change, we went back to Dynamics, we got it approved, and now we started the release and implementing in the companies with the global data. And now the new drawing and everything is available from a production point of view. So that was the two of the flows that I want to show you today. I don't know if there are any other questions. Okay. Doesn't seem like so. Okay, so the next next flow is just using a little bit of configurator. I would like to show a flow where we, from a sales order, adds a default package, amplifier package. So we have this product. Let me just show the 3D model. It's maybe easier to relate to. So we have this this amplifier package. We have different different variation on the lid size, on the colors. We have the foundation could be longer. We can change the position of the connector and the size of the connector to default, so short, long. And then we also have a custom one that we can customize the length. Now we can try to configure this one, and there can be like a Bluestar configurator, or we can use the Dynamics configurator, or it could also be other configurators that we want to use. Similar, it will be like, let's say, I don't want to choose red, I'll choose yellow. And now there are some choices I can't do, so it's constrained here. At some point of time, I maybe want to finish it in the 3D viewer. So we have here Blue View showing the configurator model here on the left side. And that means that I can now start updating the models. Maybe the lid size should be 2, and I can update the model here. And if I want to say, okay, I want it on the right side, and maybe I want to have the custom size connector, and I want to have a totally special length of 78 millimeters. Now it shows engineering needed, yes, so it automatically set it to engineering needed. If I want to have a preview, I can also order that preview. There's a background service generating that size that we have never done before, and then it will show that length. Okay, and maybe we want as well to have the foundation. Maybe that have to be a little thicker in this case. So we will have a 50 millimeter. We can order a preview of it. How does it look? And we now got a model updated. So it gives a chance to see at an early state how this looked like. I want to push it back to the choices I've done, back to the sales order line. And now it have updated the sales order line and with a new config ID in this case. So it have a bill of material, it have all these kind of things. Now I can transfer this configuration because now it was on the sales order side. I can transfer it back to the engineering side. And then we can, if I just go to the engineering object on this one, we have this configuration put back to Bluestar with the structure, and we also have all the choices that we have done is available here, and we can check out this structure to the CAD model, and it will generate the files that is not existing before. It will transfer it. It will do all the job that I need to do. Okay, then we have maybe the case that when we add something here that is that long, then we need to have another casing. So one way to do that, of course, you can do it in the CAD model, but a more interesting thing is that you can show alternatives inside of Bluestar, and then it will show the different casing that I can do. And then instead of the yellow lid, which is the active one right now, I can use this one as the active one. So this CAD model. And now I can refresh that in the CAD model, and now it will automatically go and do that replacing of the casing, and I can now continue work in this model. Another case could be that you need to branch out this lid, because now this is for a special order, so you need to branch it out. So I'll make a special. So now I got a new item number. I can now make a hole in the lid. Oops. Let me just open the lid first, and then let me do a sketch here. Okay, and return. And I will make the hole all the way through. Done. So now I've made an update on the lid. I made all the models changes, maybe adjusted it a little bit. The thing is that you have made a configuration, you have made it, but you can still modify it under the constraints in Bluestar, getting it approved, released, and all the ERP side will work from that sales order line that demands everything. It's really connected all the way through. So this was the last step of this this demo that I want to show you today. So now we can approve and release it like we did in the other cases. So we will approve it. We can release it as well, updating the bill of materials and everything that we need to be ready to produce it. And then we end the loop. So this was just an example how Bluestar can be used in a process like this sales process. And now on the sales order line, we now have the new updated drawing. We have the new updated 3D model of that exact design that we just made with the new height and everything. So this was basically what I want to show today. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if there are anything, feel free to reach out to us, and then we will help you through the process.
Yes, thank you to Jesper. And as he mentioned, if you have any questions of some sort, or you want to dive deeper into Bluestar or certain areas, certain modules, please feel free to reach out to me or one of my colleagues. And with that, thank you for attending the webinar today. Have a nice day. Bye.